Good evening, televiewers. Thanks for joining us on the primetime newscast on Equinox Television, live from our central news desk in Douala, Cameroon. The nation Cameroon and its diaspora has taken a deep breath. Focus is now towards Bamenda, chief town of the northwest region of Cameroon, where Prime Minister Dion NGUTE today announced a dialogue. Joseph Dion NGUTE, in his Twitter handle, today called on Cameroonians of goodwill to join on the dialogue that is ongoing. We shall be giving you the latest information on the 4-day visit of Dr. Joseph Dion NGUTE to the northwest region of the country, and 4 bandits caught on CC camera 2 finally intercepted. It happened here in the nation's economic capital, Douala. Those were our top stories. Prime Minister Dr. Chief Dion NGUTE, who is currently on a 4-day visit to the northwest region of the country, today had a busy day. It should be noted that it is the second day of his visit after he arrived in the northwest regional chief town yesterday. And of course, just a few minutes after his message on Twitter calling on Cameroonians of goodwill to join on the dialogue which is ongoing, he met with political party leaders in the northwest region of the country. Our special envoy to Bamenda is Babila Jonathan.
The political leaders who have met with the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion NGUTE, here in the northwest regional capital, Bamenda, have maintained that the government has to call for a ceasefire as the beginning of the solution to the Anglophone crisis. For this, they think is the only way, or the only thing that is going to convince the pro-independence fighters to drop their guns and leave the bushes and come out into the normal life trend. And these are some of the things that have been highlighted by the political leaders who met with Chief Dr. Joseph Dion NGUTE, among whom the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, John Fundi, and other leaders, and even the vice president of the Senate, who met with the Prime Minister earlier today.
The message the party has given the Prime Minister, there are 4 sides to the message. The first point is that we are asking for an immediate bilateral ceasefire. That must be the first point. The second point is that we are asking for an immediate release of all political prisoners, all prisoners of war. They should be released as a condition for peace. The third condition is we're asking that a mediator be put into place that will go between the warring parties, the Amazonian forces, and the government to negotiate. The party has offered the services of our national chairman here present, John Fundi, as one of the best candidates for negotiation, for serving as the mediator. On the same score, we have been asking that observers, independent observers, be put in to watch the peace process. That they watch the peace process once the ceasefire has been put into place, to make sure that both sides are respecting the ceasefire.
And of course, the consultations will continue. He's going to be receiving the traditional leaders who are already here, but conspicuously absent are some of the first-class traditional rulers here in the northwest region of the country. We're talking about the Fon of Mankon, for example. We're talking about the Fon of Bafud. We're equally talking about the Fon of Balinyonga. These are some of the first-class Fons here in the northwest region, but they are absent at this consultation between the Prime Minister and political, religious, traditional, and of course civil society leaders here in Bamenda.
And after meeting with political party leaders in the Northwest Regional Chief Town, Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Dion NGUTE equally met with the common man in Bamenda. He went to the streets of several neighborhoods of the city of Bamenda, notably the Bamenda Food Market, as you can see there, with traders consulting and of course tabling their challenges and difficulties, and equally what they feel within the context of the crisis hitting the Northwest and Southwest northwest regions of Cameroon is concerned. And of course, he equally listened to them, and they equally listened to Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Dion NGUTE, who was equally accompanied by top security officials as well as administrative officials of the northwest region of the country, as well as those who came with him from Yaoundé. Prime Minister Joseph Dion NGUTE left the Bamenda food market and went to other streets in other neighborhoods of Bamenda, as according to information coming in from our special envoy, Babila Jonathan, who is strolling the Prime Minister in Bamenda in the northwest region of Cameroon. And after moving from one street to the other in Bamenda, he left for the University of Bamenda campus based in Bambili. Bambili is a town in Tuba subdivision of the Mezam division, northwest region. His visit to Bambili was marked by what observers have qualified as ghost towns, as places were simply deserted. Babila Jonathan once again.
The Prime Minister of the Republic of Cameroon, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion NGUTE, is in Bambili in the Mezam Division, northwest region of Cameroon. Security is tight. The people have deserted the area. Most of them are in hiding. The streets are deserted after the pro-independence fighters declared a ghost town, even while the Prime Minister is visiting the region. And now we move through some parts of the locality, and we noticed that there was nobody on the streets. The people are either in their homes or in the bushes after the pro-independence fighters declared a ghost town. Activities are grounded here in Bambili. As you can see behind me, shops are closed and all the business activities have been brought to a halt by the Operation Ghost Town declared by pro-independence fighters. And this is practically the way life has been going on for close to 3 years today in the locality of Bambili and several other parts of the two Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon, with the phenomenon of a ghost town that is being enforced by the pro-independence fighters as a result of the deepening Anglophone crisis. And of course, the people have been living in this way for quite a long period of time, and many of them are lamenting over the devastating consequences of the crisis on human life, on their activities, on everything, on life as a whole in this area. It is a dead Bambili welcoming the Prime Minister, who is visiting particularly.
And of course, it should be noted that the Prime Minister on his Twitter handle early today indicated that a dialogue was ongoing, surprisingly to many Cameroonians who thought that the Prime Minister was only on a visit to appraise the situation of the crisis in the northwest region of the country, especially as it is the first time that he is heading to that region of the country after he was appointed as Prime Minister of the Republic of Cameroon. We are receiving in this first part of the news a federalist, Mr. Ade Anu, who, like many other Cameroonians, says he was shocked by the Twitter handle page of Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Dion NGUTE. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Ade Anu.
Thank you. Good evening.
And when I was talking to you before news, you said you are shocked when the Prime Minister announced that a dialogue was ongoing. Your worry was that you don't know who he's engaged in a dialogue with in Bamenda.
Yeah, very correct. I'm shocked. I'm surprised. I called the Federalist coordinator in the Northwest, and I thought maybe he was representing us. He said he was not invited. He has not been invited. He doesn't know that there is any dialogue ongoing. So we are hearing it. I also saw it on the handle of the Prime Minister's Twitter page this morning. So we are surprised. We don't know what type of dialogue he's talking about. I know the Prime Minister is in Bamenda for consultations.
Yes, you present yourself as the Home Front coordinator of the Federalist movement. I understand that the international non-governmental organization, notably International Crisis Group, indicated that for an end to be within the crisis in the two English-speaking regions of the country, Federalists, separatists, and the government must be on the table. Have they actually ever contacted you, I mean the government of Cameroon, to find a way of sitting with you guys together?
We have sent I cannot count countless memos to the various hierarchy of the Republic, and we've got no response. We are still hoping. We've met with the Cardinal Tumi, we've met with some political leaders. We are still hoping that they will contact us because we know federation is the way forward.
It's the same message that SDF, one of the leading opposition political parties in Cameroon, have been preaching, federation, and he met with leaders of the said political party. Are you not okay with that?
Well, there are so many political parties in Cameroon that are talking federation. That's the reason why we came together from various political parties. Some of them are talking federation, they are francophones, some are anglophones. But we, the Cameroon Federalist Movement, we are a movement that groups everybody who is preaching federation together to see that,
including the SDF,
everybody,
part of the movement,
everybody, even the CPDM, any person in the CPDM who preaches federation is our member.
Then why are you worried that the Prime Minister is talking to SDF, members of the SDF political party? They are part of the movement.
They are part of the movement, but there is a hierarchy of the movement.
Okay.
And at that moment, when we will be coming to the dialogue table, which we expect that the Prime Minister is in Bamenda to lay the foundation for a dialogue, we, the federalists, are supposed to be on the table.
It's not the first time we're having you on Equinox television as well as radio. You said this federalism, federation is a magic solution out of the Anglophone crisis. Do you think what is important is the end, or who the government is engaged with in order to find a solution to the crisis?
The end is very important, but the government has to also be engaged with certain personalities. There are experts who know what we are going through and who know how the solution, who have the solution. So it's not just that the government should end the problem, but it also has to engage with certain personalities. When we listened to the representative of the SDF talk there a few minutes ago, you heard what he was saying.
Yes,
and that's what we have come out with a blueprint. Right now we are coming up with a federalist constitution that we are going to propose. So we are not, certain persons just call federation without knowing, but we are talking because we have the experts who are going to come, sit on the table. When the moment comes, we, the federalists, are proposing.
So if the government decides to discuss with these people and come later to ask for the constitution, will you guys refuse to give the constitution?
We want to build a better Cameroon.
All right. Thank you very much. We hope to be having you next time in another edition of the News on Equinox television.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we continue with this newscast. He is not the only Cameroonian, of course, reacting to the declaration of the Prime Minister of the Republic of Cameroon, Aya Paul Abine, and of course, who was one-time a judge in Cameroon and a leader of the Popular Action Party, equally reacted from Boya. Aya Paul Abine qualified the movements or the engagements of the Prime Minister of the Republic of Cameroon as a cosmetic solution to the Anglophone crisis. Take a listen. He was interviewed by Derek Jato from Buya.
Leader of a political party and the interest of Ambazonia to which he belongs. So there will be conflict of interest, and that disqualifies him automatically.
Now, Prime Minister is moving and meeting people. He says his doors are open. He will meet people, peace-loving Cameroonians, to discuss and chart the way forward. If we sit one-on-one with you today, Lord Justice, what will you be telling him as a way out of this crisis?
I wouldn't even waste my time going to sit with him. I have said, and I'm repeating, that Ambazonia is composed of two groups of people. The people on the territory and the people outside. Until they discuss with these two groups together, it is a waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of resources. You cannot be dialoguing with peace-loving people. They are peace-loving, there is no problem. What is the topic of your dialoguing with them? You only dialogue with those who have a conflict, who are in a situation of conflict with you. So to talk about dialoguing with peace-loving Cameroonian in itself is a contradiction in terms. You cannot be dialoguing with somebody with whom you have no problem. Because the essence of the dialogue is to find common ground. Either you find common ground or you disagree and you go your separate ways.
Thank you very so much.
And of course, we go back to Bamenda, where Babila Jonathan is telling us that the Prime Minister is still on some streets of some neighborhoods of the city of Bamenda. Let's follow more in the following report.
Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Dion NGUTE at Total Quen in the town of Bamenda, speaking to inhabitants of the Northwest region and conveying a message of peace from the President of the Republic of Cameroon.
Thank you. We will discuss all within them. But that's also say Cameroon are one country. Not be so. That's so. No one make Cameroon divide.
Yeah. It's a good news for Cameroonians. Let people stand and talk. Let them meet the people. Let them come on the street and know that people are suffering. Help the people. Why can't you help the people as like the Prime Minister is doing today? We all of us are happy for what he has done today. And he should continue like this. Let him come and meet the people. Meet all the poor people. Meet all the mad people on the street. And we will have a solution to all this crisis. We are suffering in our region. The whole time we are suffering. I am happy today because this is a history, he has created history.
He stopped to discuss with the people of Bamenda here at the Total Quen neighborhood as well as at the food market neighborhood, and this is after his visit to the University of Bamenda in Bambili, where he urged the university community to work hard for the restoration of peace in the two Anglophone regions of the country. And during that meeting with the Prime Minister, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Bamenda, Professor Teresa Onko Akenji, highlighted the devastating consequences of the Anglophone crisis on the university, indicating that the enrollment has dropped from 21,000 students to about 15,000 students now, and she equally highlighted other problems that are affecting the university, urging Prime Minister Dr. Dion NGUTE to ensure that government provides solutions to some of the difficulties faced by the university. He was equally at the residence of the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, John Fundi, for lunch.
Two alleged bandits have been intercepted by the forces of law and order in the Bonapriso neighborhoods of the city of Douala. They were caught trying to steal from an insurance company. Simanji Kangirbi has more on that.
They were the two scapegoats caught after a missed operation at an insurance institution in Rue Njonjo, Bonapriso, Douala. The two were part of a gang of 4 who broke into an insurance institution but were spotted by the company's camera. The security guards on duty immediately raised an alarm that the population quickly responded. Out of the 4, 2 of the alleged bandits were caught and about to be administered mob justice when security forces descended to the scene. As the 2 were taken away by the security officers, the hopes of the inhabitants is that the 2 who escaped should be immediately brought into books.
That's it for the first part of news. Up next, Talking Point. Thanks for joining us on Talking Points. We are receiving an opposition political party figure. He is legal mind barrister Don Christopher, who is Secretary General of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement's political party. Barrister, you're welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, televiewers, for being fidel to this station, EQUINOXE TV.
Barrister, you've been following up the happenings in the northwest region of the country since Prime Minister engaged on day 1 of his 4-day visit to the region. What is your general observation?
My observation is that the Prime Minister's visit is seemingly like that of the other Prime Ministers, because it is not addressing the issues the Cameroonians are raising. Especially the Cameroon Renaissance Movement have requested that for any meaningful dialogue to take place, the first condition is to release everybody that has been caught up and locked up during the crisis in the Anglophone regions, and of course, the release of all the political leaders, Professor Maurice Kamto, the coalition, and militants of the Cameroon Renaissance movement. Then can he go to these regions to start talking about dialogue and trying to seek ways of consultation. So to my mind, the Prime Minister, being in the Northwest region, cannot be talking to civil servants, whereas we know that children of these two regions are locked up in the prison centers all over the country. So to whom is he carrying the dialogue to?
Barrister, do you think majority of Cameroonians, especially Anglophones, share these very conditions of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party?
They are sharing, because if on going to Bamenda, the Prime Minister had taken this first step of releasing everybody that was caught and locked up, in fact, he will have a hilarious welcome.
But we saw a massive turnout there.
It was not a massive turnout. You don't just take the camera, know the gimmicks of the camera.
Okay, so
gather some few civil servants who come around, and why don't they show us the population? He hadn't the population if he had released everybody from prison before going to the Northwest region. Let him try that and see the magic one. He will not need equally some few people to come and begin to stage some dramas there. You will find the population. The population is not made only of people who wear coats. If you look at the mass there, everybody is well dressed in suit and all of that. These are civil servants who have come to welcome their Prime Minister in the Northwest region. The populace has not come because that population is hard hit by the crisis, the deaths of their loved ones, the burning of their properties. They are not really happy with the situation. It would have been very, very welcoming if the Prime Minister, he knows, other Prime Ministers have failed because they did not follow the conditions laid down by the population in order for them to come and be received.
Conditions of individuals we don't know yet, because we've not actually done a survey to understand what most of the people demand. But I think that people are more concerned on the end, that is finding a solution to the crisis. Do you think the Prime Minister or the government of the Republic of Cameroon failing to release those in prison and continuing with what they call dialogue will not succeed in finding an end to the crisis?
He would have missed out an important part of the persons that were supposed to be in the dialogue. You cannot lock leaders of persons, then you go behind to talk to the persons. The persons have already chosen their leaders. The Ayuk Tabe and the others that were arrested from Nigeria and brought to Cameroon are the leaders for the Anglophones. Maurice Kamto and the other coalition members and the CRM members, leaders that have been arrested, are leaders for the party. Other political parties, their leaders are outside. So we are saying he cannot go starting a consultation or a dialogue with some people in prison and others are out, whereas the population is crying for the release of all of those people. If government cannot do that, meaning government is not ready for anything.
Well, you are a member of one of the leading opposition political parties in Cameroon.
That won the presidential election in 2018.
That's what your party says.
That won the 2018 presidential elections.
Your party chairman says so, and of course the CRM has remained on the fact that they won the 2018 presidential election, though we got different figures from the Constitutional Council. And Barrister, before we come back to the CRM issue saga, on the Anglophone crisis, your party is equally represented in these regions. Were you people contacted? Today the PM met with some opposition party leaders in Cameroon. Were they members of the CRM political party?
I am the Secretary General of the party. The president has been held up in prison. We have a regional coordinator. Nobody has been contacted for this visit, and so the Cameroon Renaissance movement is not part of the ceremony of the Prime Minister in Bamenda. We were not informed, we were not invited as a political party.
Okay, in general, we understand that you say the Prime Minister's mission, like described by Ayapol Abine, is applying cosmetic solutions to the Anglophone crisis.
It's indeed cosmetic because it falls short of a lot of things that could have gone far-reaching positions in order to, in fact, quell down the situation that is happening in the Northwest and Southwest region. Yes. Look at the separatists, the Ambazonians. They are fighting in defense because their leaders have been caught and locked up. The marginalization and all the maltreatment that is done on the people of the Northwest and Southwest region. How on earth do you think they will be happy to receive the Prime Minister in the Northwest when Ayuk Tabe, their leader, and others are in prison? It is not correct.
Apart from the need to release leaders of the Ambazonian movement, what are some of the things that the government would have taken into consideration before embarking on this journey?
Yes. One of the things is that he should, one, release all of them as the first point. Number two, try to get a consensus after releasing them, a representative consensus, whereby the political actors, including civil society, including government representatives and foreign organizations, to come to the talking table in order that a solution be found to this crisis that is rocking the Northwest and Southwest region. If you see international organizations like the UN coming into Cameroon because of the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region, and secondly, because of the past presidential elections, the government is not willing to engage meaningful dialogue. The problem remains. If they engage meaningful dialogue, they should first of all release everybody, let everybody be free, and then we can start talking about dialogue in Cameroon.
The 28th of the month of May will make it 5 months, if I'm not wrong, that the leader, I'm talking about Professor Maurice Kamto, and some key members of your political party were arrested and detained in Yaoundé. How badly has that affected your political party?
It has not, in fact, affected our political party. We only regret the fact that our leader was arrested illegally, he's been tortured illegally, detained illegally, and that is not a place for somebody whom, by their own fake results, said he was number 2 in the presidential election. Nowhere in the world somebody has taken his number 2 in the presidential election race and put in prison. So you see, this is another form of anti-democratic principles. So the Cameroon Renaissance movement is very strongly. After the arrest of our leaders, we were all over the national territory, trying to hold our public meeting, installing and creating new structures of the party. We get people to go and register, but you found the heavy presence of the military disturbing our political activities. It's to tell you that it is not because that the president is in prison that the political activities of the party is slowed down. It is even gearing up more than ever before. And I'm telling you, day in, day out, we are implanting and installing the various structures of
observers think that this team we witnessed from your political party a few days after the arrest and detention of Maurice Kamto is fast dying down.
It has redoubled. If it were not for that fear, they saw the sympathy that all Cameroonians had for the party. All Cameroonians had sympathy and are joining massively into the Cameroon Renaissance movement. I tell you, our number has quadrupled.
You think that you guys will have some seats in the upcoming municipal and possibly parliamentary elections?
We are going without gainsaying in the elections, and we are going to sweep 3/4 of the 300 and
more than
300 seats
that we have,
council seats, and then in parliament we are going to get more than 100 seats in parliament.
All right, we shall be following up to hold you on your words, and of course we wish you good luck on that.
If we are not disturbed and if we are not being persecuted, be rest assured the Cameroon Renaissance movement will be the next majority in parliament and in the council areas of the republic.
Barrister Don Christopher, Secretary General of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Political Party, Legal Mind, thanks for joining us on Talking Points.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was all we had time for today. Thanks for watching. We leave you in the company of more programs on Equinox Television. Bye-bye.